us up this evening with It Won't Be Tonight. Right, I alluded to a guest. We have a guest. The guest is Mike Jacob. He's all the way from Canada. Good evening, Mike. How are you?
Thank you very much, Colin. It's great to be here. This is an absolute delight. You folks are doing something that's so important, and it's really nice to be here. Thanks for the invite.
You're more than welcome. Mike is a volunteer with a radio station in Canada?
Yes. I've been affiliated with Canoe FM for about 19 years now.
Wow.
When I retired, of course I was a child when I retired. Oh, damn, I wish. When I retired, I went right into assisting Canoe FM and became their morning man for about 10 years. Had to pull back for some health conditions, and did a couple of programs for the balance of the time, and a lot of interviews, which I'm sure you enjoy as well. Meeting people and getting to talk to people is fascinating. And community radio, such as this, performs such an important service in the community. Not only because it's neighbor talking to neighbor, which I think is terribly important, but it's also a way that whatever's happening, in good times and more difficult times, you're there to tell people about it. Unlike weekly newspaper or monthly newspaper, it comes out sporadically, but you can be there when it's happening. And I think that's a service that people really appreciate. So yeah, it's been a great ride with them. I've had a lot of fun, and at the same time, I like to think that I've made a contribution. I'm sure you feel the same way.
Well, definitely. And folks, if you're out there and are wondering, Canoe FM, where are they? You can find them just by simply Googling. Go onto Radio Garden, you'll find them. And if you listen to some of the stuff that's archived, as I did today because I knew Mike was coming in, it's fascinating and could create an interest in other areas for one or two of us here in Lochs Radio and Loch FM. Like yourself, Mike, I do really believe that, especially at times of need, whether that be good or bad. Now, for example, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth passing away, we all, the media broadcasters, go into a bit procedures, and we did that, but we then came back and we did a couple of shows. I think were very tasteful, and we've had good comments about. And it helps to give out more information, and
Absolutely.
Information is a great thing.
Absolutely, it's paramount for a small community to be able to stay in touch with what's going on. And one of the other joys of radio is that because you're speaking, like, people wouldn't know that you're wearing a tuxedo tonight. I think you look really wonderful. You look great.
Thank you.
And you may have noted. Did you notice I have a bullseye on my bald spot on top? Did you notice that?
Well, I didn't want to mention
Well, while I was sleeping the other day, my wife put this bullseye in red on the top of my head, and I said, "Well, why did you do that?" She said, "Well, that way when I come to give you a good slap, I know what I'm aiming at, you see."
There you go.
And any of your listeners that are listening right now, they saw that bullseye on the top of my head. They probably thought, "What an idiot." But that's the beauty of radio. You can paint any picture you want.
Certainly can.
And pull people into it. I still like your tuxedo. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Radio is a great medium, and for small businesses, it's so affordable. You know, we had many clients who bought radio, and at first they're like, well, I didn't hear my spot. Did it run? But many of them became loyal sponsors because over time they developed their brand, their presence, and they saw that people were talking about it. But you can't do it with one or two spots. You just have to stay there and be constant.
Yeah, just keep going.
For small advertisers, it's a great way to tell people you got a sale tomorrow, you got a sale next week,
Indeed.
And to give them a little bit of information. It's a wonderful medium.
Yeah. It certainly is. And one of my passions, as we discussed earlier, is music. You know, I have a fair collection at home, and obviously I do a lot here at Two Lochs. Sure, music plays a big part in your life. I think what hit home to me about 18 months ago, I played a piece of music here. It was the first time it was heard on British radio.
Wow.
And it was written by a man in Skye for a very important charity event. And he sat in his kitchen with his mother, and his piece of music was played, and it became real because he heard it on the radio.
Isn't that lovely?
Oh, fantastic!
That is
And
great.
the emotion within that was something else, you know.
At Canoe FM, over our years, we've loved featuring local talent, and we actually have a library we call the Local Talent Library. And every hour we're playing music by local musicians and singers, and they are stars as far as we're concerned, because not only are they great at what they do, but it's another way the fabric of the community is drawn together, and being able to do those things is absolutely marvelous. And they're tickled because many of them have gone on to produce CDs and or even digital versions that people can download, and they're making a little bit of money out of it. So that's not bad either, is it?
It's all good. I know that there's a few of us really push any local stuff. At the moment, it's not just as busy as I'd like it to be on the music front. Yes, we have Tidelines coming to visit this weekend, Friday evening here at Gairloch. But locally, there are people behind the scenes working and getting on, but sometimes it's just not as easy as some people think these days.
Takes time to build it, doesn't it?
Doesn't
it? Takes time.
Yeah.
You know, over the years that Canoe FM has been on the air, we started with the very basics. We had 4 fellas who each put $100 into the pot and said, we're going to start a radio station. So with $400 and a dream, they started. And we got a few volunteers who'd never been in radio. And we got some old equipment donated by a university, and a transmitter that another station was not using anymore. So we had all this old stuff, and they put it together, and we got on the air. And today we have over probably 110, 115 volunteers. Wow. And doing 100 hours of original programming a week. And it was just over time, you just build it and you build it. And as you do things right, you make sure you keep doing those things. And as you do things wrong, get rid of them.
Yeah, and learn from them.
Oh, do we ever? Sometimes our mistakes are right there on the air.
Well, that's true. Now, you're obviously here on holiday.
Yes.
How are you finding Scotland?
Oh, my goodness. What a holiday this has been. Thanks to Cousin Bob and Izzy for inviting us, first of all, to come and see Scotland. We'd never been to Scotland before. And I said to my wife, well, I think we should do this. I think we better get over there. And we're, about 5 days into it, now 6 days. And we have seen some sights I never, ever expected. Left me with my jaw dropped. And I'm going to say it, people are going to think it's silly, but on a couple of occasions, I actually got choked up about things because I couldn't believe the beauty of what I was seeing.
Yeah.
And the people have been wonderful to us as well. Once they know that you're a Canadian and basically lost, they're very nice to you.
That's very good to hear. You mentioned, and it's not in our neck of the woods, although we do have a very good museum here in Gairloch, but you mentioned the Glasgow Gallery.
Oh, my goodness. I could have stayed there for days.
Yeah.
It was truly a unique experience, and I never expected to see a Van Gogh in person.
No.
Or a Rembrandt. Like, to see this and be there. And of course, I'm very much into art as well, so the sculptures and things of that nature. But the very history that is contained in that museum is impressive.
Very much so.
Oh my goodness. People so dedicated to hold on to what matters, so that those coming in the future can be proud of everything that's gone on before.
Definitely.
It's a marvelous experience.
Yeah, it's jaw-dropping.
And it was a beautiful sunny day, and the temperature was up around 17. What's not to like about that?
Well, that's normally every day, and especially West of Ross.
Oh,
Yeah,
there
sunshine and no showers.
Oh, well, that's wonderful to hear. I'll expect that tomorrow.
That's the magic of radio, eh, Mike? So how long have you still got to go? And
Well, we won't be going home, to the great chagrin of some of our relatives, probably. We won't be going home until a week tomorrow. A week tomorrow, yeah. So we still have another full week as we continue with our journey and our sightseeing, and yeah, we're looking forward to it.
and a wonderful tour guide you have with you.
Oh my goodness! I've learned more than my aging brain can consume. But I have been making notes.
Well, that's the way to go.
I've got a memory like a sieve anymore. So I've been keeping little notes and saying to Bob, and how do you spell that again?
I'll just look it up. Mike, I would urge our listeners to listen to Canoe FM, because there's a little bit of research I listened today. They were playing some similar type music to what we listen to here in Lochs Radio, Lochs FM. So Google it is the easiest way to go about it. Or if you're into your radio garden, etc., or tune in, then have a listen to Canoe FM, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Mike, it's been a pleasure to have you in the studio.
Thank you very much, Colin. Congratulations to you, the other volunteers, and all the people in behind the scenes. I know it's a big undertaking. It's a complex undertaking, and thank you for giving me a chance to come in and say hello.
And we would love to hear how you go on over the next week as well.
Thank you.
Possibly through social media.
All best wishes.
Best I can do as Canadians are within the building. This is Mr. Neil Young.
Pretty cool stuff. Thank you, my friend.
Enjoyed that.
That was lovely. Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.